morning, Sun Ra people, those of planet Earth and other worlds. Christopher here from Sun Ra Archive. As my friend Richard Segan always said on his radio show, let's turn our gaze to the skies and enter Sun Ra's cosmic corner. Gonna keep this moving today with another live stream. Got a couple of nice comments, so I'm gonna keep at it, see where it takes us. Beautiful. Marshall Allen on the flute. The song is Tiny Pyramids from the album Angels and Demons at Play. Recorded 1960, June 17th at Hall Recording Company. Or rehearsals or our RCA studios in Chicago, Illinois. This version is from 2014 iTunes Remaster series that Sun Ra LLC estate did for Sun Ra's 100th Arrival Day anniversary. And to my ears, the best this record ever sounded. Angels and Demons at Play and Nubians of Plutonia twofer on Evidence CD was one of the first albums I got by the suggestion of Richard Segan when I called him up after that 91 Sun Ra concert and said, I want to hear more. Where do I start? This is the kind of music I like. And I think I probably told him world music, Grateful Dead, percussion and drums. He was right on. But this album has a big place in my heart. Always go back to it. If you're going to ask me what my favorite album is, this would be one of the first ones that came to mind, if not the first one. The instrumentation, compositions, kind of the tonal quality of it, the tonal center of it, the melodies, and the song titles, and the feeling of these songs as a suite together is very connotative for me. So focusing on ancient Egypt, Nubia, angels and demons at play, etc. Marshall Allen's flute work on these sessions really unifies them as well. The ambience of the recording, the introduction of all of the solidification of all the percussion elements that the band doubles on, where the percussionist plays. (1960). Any of you jazz heads, world music heads out there, want to kind of chime in and tell me what Sun Ra's peers in the music world were doing at this time that's somewhat similar. I'd love to learn more. And that's one thing I've never really chased down, maybe other than the Ola Tunji records from this period, because of Marshall and John Gilmore's involvement in those. I haven't really sought out, but to my ears, in the jazz world, in particular, Sun Ra was way ahead of the curve here, bringing in the world influences, the exotica influences, the subject matter of ancient civilizations, ancient African and Black origins and history, knowledge, expertise. There's really nothing like it that I'm aware of. If there's anything that you know of that's like it, from the time period specifically, please add a comment and let me know. So this is from that playlist I talked about yesterday of about 180 songs from 1948 to early 1961 that kind of have esoteric subject matter that we're going to kind of get into a little bit, talk about, think about, contextualize. Magnolia's ear. And Maggie. You'll often see her on my lap. And I thought another thing that we could do in these live streams to kind of set the tone, see what kind of messages Sunny has for us in the moment, would be to look at the immeasurable equations, Sun Ra's collected poetry. And the edition that I have here, which I believe is still in print and available, is the one that was compiled and edited by James L. Wolfe and Hartmut Gierken. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing Hartmut's last name, but this was published by Wait a While Press. And as you may have heard in the interview that I did with, let me turn on the music so I can concentrate here, Paul, about the poetry. It's an area that I have the poetry, but I've never really spent tons of time with it, and I've never really cracked the code as far as it resonating with me. I'm a big words person, more so a music person, but I don't have a good knowledge of poetry. But one thing that I did ask Paul Youngquist when I talked to him on the podcast about his book, Solar Worlds, I believe, was the poetry. So as an English professor and teacher, how could we better understand and get into Sun Ra's poetry? And he said, keeping with the idea of vibrations, that it really needed to be read out loud, which is something that I had never done before. So kind of set the tone for today. Let's see what Sunny has to say to us. Page 59, the first poem in the immeasurable equations. I believe that these are, they're presented in alphabetical order, not chronological. So we'll begin with a blueprint declaration. One part of an equation is a blueprint declaration of the other part. Similar, yet differentially not. Each side is all, in different statement form. Equation, equations. It is nothing if it is all. Still, there are different alls. The end is all, but all is everything. Yet if everything is all, the end, it denies the other side of the end. For some ends have many points leading to their respective selves, and there is each there many points leading out from their respective selves. Yeah, it definitely helps to read it out loud. So maybe we'll do one of those at the top of every top of every stream. See what we learn from it, see how it resonates and synchronizes maybe with the things that we're talking about on the day. Yeah, so these were all, this book is beautiful, and get it if you're a Sun Ra fan and student, for sure. I believe it's still in print. It's a private press, hardcover. It's very nicely printed and bound. Most of it's rekeyed and retyped, but this particular first poem is mimeographed, copied from maybe the original Immeasurable Equations or a record sleeve or something like that. Cat hair everywhere. I got this from Jazz Record Center when it came out. $94.50. I think it's cheaper now on Amazon. August 4th, 2005. So Sun Ra's Immeasurable Equations, Sun Ra's poetry, equations, musings, meditations on the written sound, word, vibrations. So I'm going to keep it short today. Doesn't look like we have anybody joining in the chat. And it would, being the holidays, need to dedicate myself to family and preparations. But let's go to the playlist here. Start to delve into this. So the idea here is to focus on songs that could have an esoteric subject matter, whether it be the title, well, starting with the title, right? It could be an instrumental composition or a lyrical tune. And I just kind of threw these all on the hard drive and haven't curated them yet. So it may be that, when we look at them, they really don't have an esoteric, ancient culture, biblical, spiritual, occult relationship. But I just wanted to kind of pull them all together, go through them and see what kind of in chronological order they told me about Sun Ra's spiritual path and compositional path of introducing these, for lack of a better word, what I'm calling esoteric concepts into his songwriting, and also trying to make sense of, was he presenting these ideas after he had done the study, come to some kind of idea, synthesis of these ideas, or was the compositional process perhaps also a part of his musing on it, working it out, and the compositions were a real-time improvisation or synthesis of these concepts. So 1948 is the first composition that I have that could be along these lines. So 48, Sun Ra was in Chicago. This is a piano and solo vox recording called The Darkness Within. It's an instrumental. It's on the Eternal Myth Revealed Volume 1 box set that Michael Anderson curated and was released on Transparency. So this is probably, a paper tape recording. Piano and solo vox recordings. This is the fifth one of those, dated 1948. That's so wild. So Sun Ra's probably in his apartment or in a rehearsal space, probably his apartment, experimenting with the solo vox, an early electronic keyboard, sound synthesizer. And what I'm hearing on this tune is actually, I don't hear piano, I hear solo vox. But what I hear is Sun Ra playing over another recording of a band. Sounds like the Arkestra. Sounds like it could be backwards. recording he's playing over is definitely manipulated in some fashion. It sounds backwards. It sounds like the Arkestra. Wow, cool. I've never really paid very close attention to that. The darkness within. So the idea of darkness, light, darkness, inner worlds, perhaps. Maybe no relation to culture or race, the darkness within, 1948. So I'd say that that's a keeper as far as esoteric subject matter. So all we have to go by is the sound of the recording and the title on that. But 1948, the other mind blower that came out in the past few years is a piano demo version of the song Pleiades that was issued as a bonus track to the, I believe, late 80s live concert recording of Pleiades, a jazz symphonique with symphony orchestra, the expanded edition put out by Sun Ra LLC, mastered by Erwin Chusad, contained a piano demo of the song Pleiades from 1948. So 48, 58, 68, 78, 88, 40 years ahead of when kind of I became aware of that composition. I think there's also a version of Pleiades from the late 70s too. But this is all off the top of my head. I've got no reference here. Just got the songs pulled. So I should have them all on here so I could search for other versions of Pleiades, but there's very few. But 1948 Pleiades, this is something I want to note and do some research into. So the Pleiades, the constellation, the star system, I believe called the Seven Sisters as a constellation. I could be wrong, but please, you stargazers, astronomy people, astrology people, ancient history people, let's delve into the idea of the Pleiades, what that means. The Book of Urantia, I believe. So, there's no question what Sun Ra is referring to in the title here with this piano demo, which is instrumental. Beautiful melody. So yeah, this was also performed in the late 70s with flutes, probably Marshall, Danny Ray, Danny Thompson, I'm not sure who the flautist would have been, but like a flute trio recording. But Sun Ra has this idea pretty fully formed melodically 30 to 40 years ahead of when the orchestra was publicly performing it. So whereas Darkness Within is probably talking about an inner space, Pleiades is talking about an outer space, perhaps an origin for our beings, our history. And this is predating kind of what I think we would probably think of as his first space songs, which is more kind of like the 50s outer space race, space exploration, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, Rocket Number 9 type songs. So Pleiades, let's look into that some more. I'll track down the other versions, but I would really love to learn together about what the Pleiades really means. I've got a very general understanding of the concept, but with that kind of being the first documented song that we have that speaks to these esoteric outer space, ancient history, origins concept, I think this warrants a deep dive into the concept of what Pleiades means. It's very direct. The next thing that we got here is 1949. This is also from the Eternal Myth Revealed box set. This is a solo recording of Sun Ra singing and playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, there's a land I heard of once in a lullaby. So, at least for me in my generation, this is a song that we associate with The Wizard of Oz and Judy Garland. And maybe earthly dreaming and childhood dreaming and transcending earthly planes in a very maybe simple, innocent way. But in Sun Ra's mind, hands, voice, the song becomes so much more. And a signature song. So 1949, July 23rd, the first recording that we have. And he performed this throughout the rest of his career. So from 1949 to the early 1990s. An over 40-year period. And what's interesting is, I think, again, I need to look at 70s performances when it was first performed as a big band orchestra arrangement. But Sun Ra probably wouldn't have been singing it. It would have been solo piano. And improvisation and expansion on the melodic theme. So the fact that he's singing this in 1949, the dream that you dare to dream really do come true. The dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. I hear this as being much more than a simple lullaby. As beautiful and classic as this song is, I think in Sun Ra's mind, the way he's communicating it, this is far beyond The Wizard of Oz. Somewhere over the rainbow, meaning beyond our immediate earthly existence and reality, waking reality, other dimensions. So this setting up the rest of his career, the rest of his ideology and concepts, it's just fascinating and beautiful. So even though I wouldn't have previously, meaning to other artists other than Sun Ra, called Somewhere Over the Rainbow a spiritual song in Sun Ra's hands and voice, it certainly is. And then that brings us to the 50s. So let's see where we're at here, time-wise. We've gone for 23 minutes. It's just me on here today. And we've got lots of... We've got, 175 plus more songs in this playlist to go through. Maybe we'll just kind of preview the titles that I'm thinking about. We won't go through them today, but maybe you can do some listening for the next time that we regroup. So another candidate, 1953. So we go from 49 to 53, March. Early avant-garde organ, Sun Ra, song called The Inner Being. So 48, we had The Darkness Within, solo piano and solo vox. And then 1953, we have The Inner Being. We'll listen to that one. Just put it on while we're going through the rest of the tunes. 1955, Stranger in Paradise, which is a vocal arrangement with one of the doo-wop groups from Spaceship Lullaby CD on Atavistic Records. 1955, Black Sky and Blue Moon, another lyric and vocal tune performed by the New Sounds, again from Spaceship Lullaby. 1955, there's the Treasure Hunt tape. The song Treasure Hunt, also known as Of This I Know. So Treasure Hunt, I first heard from the 1987 WKCR Marathon, one of the rarities that Sun Ra brought. And it was referred to as Treasure Hunt for many years. This would have been the Space Trio with Pat Patrick and Tommy Bugs Hunter. 1955, July 14th. Auspicious date. I believe the Sun Song transition recording session was July 12th, a year or two later, but July 12th being my arrival day anniversary in this incarnation. But so Treasure Hunt. Do 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 do. That we first heard in 1987 KCR, and then when Michael Anderson put it out on the Eternal Myth box set, we found out the song was actually called Of This I Know. Need to look into Of This I Know. Is this a Sun Ra original composition? Is it maybe a Pat Patrick song? Or is it a traditional song or cover from another artist? Never looked into that, which we should definitely do. And I think of this as esoteric because of the fact that it's the first Space Trio recording that we have, and the connotation of treasure hunt, what that could mean. I mean, the obvious is the earthly treasure, pirates' booty and archaeology and treasure hunters and stuff, but also thinking of the esoteric spiritual journey, the treasure hunt, looking for something deep, hidden, lost. So this made the cut of songs to look into. After that, July 22nd of 1955, the New Sound Spaceship Lullaby. Bop is a spaceship lullaby. Bop is a spaceship lullaby. So our first song that we have that refers to a spacecraft, spaceship, 1950s. Definitely a contender. This version is a rehearsal version from Second Stop is Jupiter, Norton Records. The next tune from a month later in 1955, August 22nd, is Dreaming. Which I love. I think of this and the song Dreams Come True kind of as being from the same thought, as well as the same time period. But when I think of dreaming, there's the kind of everyday meaning, and kind of in this doo-wop pop setting, dreaming of love. If you live in fables, then you'll know what I mean. For there is a world where things aren't what they seem. Sun Ra's kind of got this double entendre going, kind of couching this spiritual idea in a romantic sounding love song. So yeah, this version is from the Sun Ra singles. Kind of my go-to version is the Strut Art Yard version from their singles collection. I first heard this on the Evidence singles double CD. There's also a studio rehearsal version by the Cosmic Rays from Interplanetary Melodies on Norton Records. There's a trio of great recordings released by Norton Records on CD and LP that were curated by Michael Anderson. It has a lot of songs from this period. This was one of them. Another one from 55, and maybe we'll close out 55 and cut it for the day. This was registered with the Library of Congress, 1955, on October 10th. And it's a composition called Ra's Star. And all we have is the lead sheet for this. And I believe James Wolfe helped to discover the archive and disseminate those photocopies. Ra's Star is not on any released Sun Ra or Sun Ra Arkestra sessions that I'm aware of. But what we have here is a friend of mine named James Weiss transcribed these recordings into a simple MIDI program to notate them and then play them back with this elementary, electric piano synthesis of the lead sheet, which gives us this only recorded version of Ra's Star. So thank you, James Weiss, wherever you are. We haven't spoken in many, many, many years. Ra's Star. So I'll need to pull out the sheet, but I think that might not even be a Sun Ra composition. That might be one of the Arkestra members. I want to say Richard Wright, but I think that's Richard Wright. Could be wrong. Again, it's been years off the top of my head, but Richard, the bass player at the time, but we'll look into that. But definitely Esoteric, Ra's Star. And RA'Star, Ra forward, and then star backwards being Rats. So it's kind of like almost an inversion of the letters, which is interesting. Inversion, very creative. And then the last song from 1955 we have is The Second Stop is Jupiter.
Come on, man. What's the last one? The next bit here.
November 21st, The Cosmic Rays. Unissued home rehearsal from The Second Stop is Jupiter, Norton Records. Sun Ra on piano. The drummer. Vocalists. At least two of them. Which is cool. At least two vocalists. So that refrain, that chant will come up again. Second Stop is Jupiter, Rocket number 9 from Sun Ra Visits Planet Earth. So we have actually two 1955 rehearsals of that. One with the new sounds. Oh, no, that's Spaceship Lullaby. They're both from the Second Stop is Jupiter album. but we'll hear this pop up with Arkestra and not a vocal group. So that brings us from 1948 to 1955. Some of the songs I'm looking at with this esoteric, outer planetary, lost hidden knowledge themes. So we'll leave it there for today. At 35 minutes, I just wanted to keep the momentum going and do this exercise with you all, see where it leads us, and get the immeasurable equation number 1 read. And hope you have a wonderful holiday season with your family and friends. And pull out your 7-inch single of Sun Ra, It's Christmas Time and Happy New Year to You by I Think the Qualities, and listen to that. That's always fun, the holiday season. We always slip a Sun Ra song into the Christmas playlist. Be well, enjoy your day, and enlightenment is.